And good morning. It's 7:04 on this Friday, March 3rd. It's time to head to Studio B for Coleman and Company.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome on a Friday. It's going to be a windy Friday. I don't know how fantastic, but the wind is already blowing out there, and I think we've already had fair warning. Anyway, we're glad to have you with us this morning. Glad to be on the air for Wilson Bank and Trust, and we have not one but two people here today to talk about the bank and things that are going on. We have Mary Flesh with us this morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Coleman.
HR officer.
Correct.
Another HR officer whose name is Caitlin Robertson.
Good morning.
Nice to have you both.
Thank you for having us.
I think you got a story to tell and some things that some opportunities that we want to talk about this morning.
Yes, right? Coleman, we definitely do. At the bank, we are constantly growing, moving forward, thinking ahead, and we do have some current openings. If anybody is interested, looking for a good career opportunity, they could visit our website, wilsonbank.com. Under the About Us section, we have our careers there. And
all right, going to interrupt you because I want to know a little bit about your career because you're here talking about somebody else's.
Yes, okay, perfect. I actually started at the bank almost 6 years ago. Previously, I had my own businesses for 10 years, had been a customer of the bank for 20-something years, and then had the opportunity to join the bank. And so I've already 6 years has just flown by, but I've got some great coworkers like Caitlin, and she's actually been at the bank longer than I have, and she can kind of tell us a little bit about her experience too.
Well, what exactly is available, or maybe that you're looking for?
Well, we actually have kind of like more entry-level positions on our customer service side. On the branch side, some people think of like tellers. When they go to the bank, that's the first thing they think of. But we have like those opportunities, which can be more entry level, not necessarily, you don't have to have bank experience. And then we have some more specialized positions, like, example, data architect, risk management. We've started some new departments within the bank. And so, like I said, we're just continuing to grow and have, opportunities. And sometimes we don't always have internal candidates that have the level of skill that we're looking for. So we do have to look to the outside because we'd love to promote from within. But we do sometimes need those specialty kind of like niche, I would say, positions. So just a lot of opportunity.
Well, I know you've had some really good reviews. You have placed, well, maybe, I don't know whether it's actually a contest, but in seeking out places of wonderful employment, you've ranked high.
Yes, we have. We've done really well, been named the top workplace a couple of times and all. So it is a great place to work. We work hard, but we play hard too, because we're very involved in the community.
Caitlin, you want to tell us about your experience?
Sure, absolutely. So I actually started with the bank almost 10 years ago. It was my first job right out of college. I graduated from Tennessee Tech, and I'm actually from Lebanon. I was born and raised here, grew up here, and so, of course, I knew all about the bank. Applied for a position right when I graduated and actually started off as a teller. That was my first job here at the bank. And I moved into HR a little over a year after I started, and I've been with HR ever since. So
is that a good fit for you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think so, at least. I really enjoy it. There's so many opportunities at the bank, and I have already grown so much there and just hope to continue to. So, like Mary said, we're very involved with the community, and there's so much room for growth and just different opportunities there at the bank. So
some of these opportunities I take are here in Lebanon, but I would imagine all over the area
absolutely,
that you
yes.
serve.
We have grown into so many different, market areas that even within just the last year that we haven't been in. So definitely looking for, people in all of those areas, and we'll continue to.
As we continue to grow.
If somebody's interested, what's the best way to get started?
Applying online would be the first step. So if they go to our website and there's an About Us tab up there with the careers page, and they can view all of our open positions on there, and then, apply from on there, and we will get their application, and then we will kind of rotate it from within from there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Hopefully that pretty well describes that. Was there something else we want to mention this morning?
No, I think that's about it. I can tell a little bit about our process is we do get all the applications in HR. And then, like you said, since we're around the Middle Tennessee area, we forward them out to the managers in the different departments that have the openings. And then they, in turn, can go through them and see who has the experience that they're needing or looking for.
But previous banking experience, not necessary.
Some positions it is needed more so, but sometimes we can train just train the.
So if you're really interested, apply and see what happens.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Make an effort. Put your best foot forward.
Exactly.
And the chips will fall where they lie,
Yep.
or whatever.
That's
But they've got no doubt, two nice people. I'm speaking of you two here to be a part of the interview and the hiring process. So no doubt you're looking forward to getting some applications here.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Definitely.
All right. Well, thank you all for being with us this morning. Mary Flesh, Caitlin Robertson, both HR officers for Wilson Bank and Trust, member FDIC, equal housing lender, still here, still independent, still committed to you. Excellence in banking since 1987. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We are 10 minutes after the hour, and it is Friday, and that means it's time for our Friday Senate report, and here is Senator Mark Pody.
Good morning, Coleman. What a great day to be alive.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Oh, Coleman. You know what? We are down to some of our last bags of the pecans, and Debbie took the pecans to the depot, so in Watertown at the restaurant. So she's been selling them at the Capitol, and I think she said, Mark, I got 3 bags left, and she said I could get rid of them at the depot.
Oh, I think that's great.
Yes.
I've gotten rid of all of mine.
Awesome.
And so it's, although I guess some people are tired of hearing about this. Others wonder, why did you have a clearance sale? But the whole thing was they didn't get us here before Thanksgiving. We didn't receive them till after Thanksgiving, which affected our sales this year.
Yes.
But
I think we got that wound up, and we're moving forward.
And that's great.
So this morning, we got a town hall meeting because it's the first Friday of the month. So I'll be at the chamber at 8 o'clock. So right after I'm leaving here, I'll be going to the Lebanon Chamber, and I do that the first Friday of every single month. And then today, we also have the drug court, and which is kind of a cool big opportunity because our judges, they take certain people that are incarcerated or finding a way to get back into society a little bit better. And they say, if you can work through a few systems and issues, and we'll help you to do that. And they're graduating today. And we've had this for a while, and we've had very, very, very good success with the drug courts in Wilson County.
So you go and help be a part of their achievement, their celebration, getting through.
I do. And, I want to just help them celebrate the commitment that they're saying, and they've proven that they can turn their lives around. And I think Judge Wooten started this, but it's been a good program to say we can take some people, invest in them, help them get careers, jobs, housing, and so forth, and get them back in society. And if we can do that, they're coming out of prison anyway. Let's get them back to be the productive members of society so they don't have to go back to whatever crime they were doing and so forth. So it's been a very successful opportunity for us to have this in the drug courts in Wilson County.
Well, there's kind of two ways of looking at your job. I mean, these are, I know you consider them most of the time opportunities, but you do have a lot of places to go and things to do. I mean, here's the Chamber of Commerce, the drug court, and of course you've got responsibilities as our senator.
Yes. But I can tell you that I think one of the things that is important as a leader that I've been blessed with at this point is to come back and just let people know that we do appreciate them, that somebody is watching. Like when people graduate from adult education and such, I want to go and let them know, look, you had something that happened in your life, you dropped out of high school or for whatever reason, but you made a commitment to come back. And I want to make sure I'm there to celebrate. If there's graduations, I try and be there at graduations and such. So it's not just passing laws in the state, it's also being accessible to everybody in the community.
Well, what have you done this week?
Well, one of the things I did happens to be with a lady named Sue Vanetta. Now, I'm going to tell you, I just think the world of Sue. She is just absolutely an incredible person that really watches out for the best interests of Wilson County. I said at one time, if you cut her, she'll bleed Wilson County. But I've nominated her to be on the election commission. And those nominations had to go in. There will be actually 5 people on the election commission. There'll be 3 Republicans and there'll be 2 Democrats. And I have the opportunity to recommend one, and my recommendation was Sue. I know she's going to be honest, fair to everybody. She will take this position very, very serious to make sure our elections are run correctly here in Wilson County.
All right, how many nominations are there?
Well, people can nominate. Many people can nominate
okay.
those, but with me, I just nominated Sue. That was my nomination. Clark Boyd will probably submit a nomination, and we'll also get one from Susan Lynn. So there'll be 3. Each one of us will be submitting a nomination, and I believe that they'll be winning their nomination. I don't think there's anybody else competing for it. And then the Democrats will submit 2 names as well.
Okay, all right. I think we got that. Time for us to take a break. Our Friday Senate report. Senator Mark Bodie here on Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
And it's 7:14. Let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to our friends at Bates Ford and the Lifetime Brake Pad Guarantee. With the purchase of a brake service, replacement brake pads will be provided at no cost for as long as the customer owns a vehicle. Bates Ford, 1673 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. Traffic still tied up out here on 65 southbound at Lone Hollow Pike as they clean up this accident. It's been up here for a while, wreaking havoc on this side of town, and it's really slow. As we stare at it live, the left lane is still blocked on this crash. 65 southbound at Lone Hollow Pike, north of Nashville. I-40 eastbound looks like it was getting a little bit heavy there up by Charlotte Pike coming in from Kingston Springs. Nash Painting Services, all of Middle Tennessee. If you want it done right, you'll call these guys. NashPainting.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Gregory Dental Group in Lebanon is a family dental practice located across from Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital. They offer cosmetic procedures, dental implant services, and now featuring new digital dentures. Premium dentures in just 2 appointments. No insurance, no problem. Call about our discount plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Derek Gregory. In my office, you can count on compassionate staff who will truly listen to you, take the time to get to know you, and discuss your personal needs. I look forward to meeting you.
Gregory Dental Group, 444-0322, West Medora Parkway, across from Gibbs Pharmacy.
Coleman and Company, our Friday Senate report. Thanks for joining us, and back with Senator Mark Bodie. We just have a nice conversation every Friday. Sometimes we don't get through, but if we don't get through today, we'll bring it back up next week.
That's exactly. And you know what? We're half done with the session now.
Really?
So, literally, we're talking about closing down our committees. And next week, I have to put some bills on notice, otherwise they won't be heard this year. So some of our committees are starting to go through that process of having won't take any more bills. So as we start closing down committees, we'll be doing that in March and then having the budget in April, and we will be done. In fact, most of our budget hearings are going to be done in the next week as well. So we are getting that kind of ticking that we're halfway through this session, and that's gone by fast.
Well, it seems like it really has. I'm wondering if there's not something, though, that's gonna hold things up before you get through. It seems to nearly always be.
And that could very well be. And it's interesting because we're about a week ahead of where we normally are. So I think the House isn't quite as far as we are in the Senate, so we may have to take a break in the Senate and kind of let them catch up a little bit. But it is moving very, very, very quickly this year. One of the things that we did have that we talked about in the board meeting yesterday, and I have an advisory board every Thursday, is should we increase the speeds on the highways? And, right now it's 70 miles an hour. Should we increase that to 75? And that was an interesting conversation because people say we all go 75 or more anyway. So
we had an interesting before we went on the air here this morning, and that about the sum of what was said.
Yes, and everybody on the board was for it. They said, yes, go ahead and vote to increase the speed, and that probably will happen. So I think that bill's coming up this week. Then we had another bill that's going to be, we talked about, and it has to do with the toll roads or the choice lanes, however you want to do it, call it. And that's passed in the House, went through 100% in their committees. In the Senate, it was a whole lot more contentious. And I was actually the chairman of that committee when it was going through. It was over 2 hours and 10 minutes that we debated that. And it barely went through. It went through with a 5-4 vote.
What were you debating? To have or not to have?
Yep.
Or? Yeah. Okay.
So should we open up the opportunity for us to have contracts for us to do this in Tennessee? I met with the governor. I met with the commissioner. I met with them several times, and they were very, very much in favor of us doing this. So it made it out of committee, but it was very, very close. 1 vote off.
Did you have a vote in the committee?
I did, and I voted against it. It's not that I told the governor, I said, Governor, I want more money going to TDOT. And I'm going to be I'm actually meeting with our finance guy next week, and Jim Bryson. And Jim Bryson is going to be looking at some things with me, but one of them is how we can actually almost double our TDOT budget. Right now, we have about a $2 billion TDOT budget, and in order to do all the projects we have going and so forth, I think that we need at least another billion a year, and possibly $2 billion. So I'm going to be trying to find ways that we can recommend that for next year.
How difficult would it be to come up with that? I mean, when we talk about the rainy day fund and all of this that we have here, it doesn't seem like it would be all that difficult to find the money, but you may be talking about something that is going to be year after year after year, and when you do that can present some problems at times.
Absolutely. Coleman, I think that we can come up with the money. The state has the money, and we have the obligation to have good infrastructure in Tennessee. But some of the things that they're recommending this year, that we got a bill, for example, to say everybody should have free childcare from the time the child's born till they go to school. That's not the state's role. Take that kind of money. You know, when they're talking about free diapers for everybody, that's not the state's role. The state's role is to build those roads and make them where they're free for everybody and that they're in good shape. Let's maintain our roads. Let's build the roads that we need. We have the money to do it. We've just got to make the priorities to say this is what we can do. And we don't need any new taxes, none, to do this. We have the money right now. Just fix them.
I can't help but think a lot of times when we come up with these grandiose ideas of free bubble up and all that, you know, that all that's designed for is to get votes on election day. I'm sorry, that's the way I feel.
And Coleman, I think unfortunately there's a lot of politicians, and I'm going to say I'm in with the room with them, that would rather spend money on the credit card and let their kids pay for it than pay cash the way it goes. If you don't have the money, we don't need to do it. I'm not one to say we need bonds. I'm not one to say that we need debt to do this. I believe we should be a pay-as-we-go. We don't have the money, don't do it. If we think it's an important project, let's save up and get our priorities right and do it. But that's me, and I'm a little bit different, but I think we can change our TDOT budget. I think we can come up with at least $1 billion a year or more and start getting our roads fixed.
All right, what's going to be the difference if we have the choice lanes or we don't? We still got all these other roads that need attention.
Yes. So the choice lanes, if it all goes through, and it's still got to be passed at both houses, you know, it's through committees, but they got to be passed on the floor, and I believe they both will. That just means that the contracts can be starting to be negotiated. We wouldn't be driving on anything until probably 2032 or something. So it's still a long ways away before we'd actually see a road that we could drive on. But we can do some things next year to double our TDOT budget. And I'm going to give you an example. I think that's something that we could do to make dedicated funding to TDOT. Just take the current money we're doing right now, just the current money that we're collecting, for example, when you buy a new car or a used car, whatever that tax is, say, use that money for the roads. You know, if you're buying a car, it just makes sense that tax money, it's going to be for the roads, put it to the roads. If we keep waiting on the gas tax is going to continue to go down. Cars are driving farther, and we're not going to be having gas forever. So we've got to find a different way to do it. But that would make it fair for electric cars, gas cars, any kind of vehicle. If you're buying a vehicle for the road, let that sales tax go for the road fund.
You no doubt have shared this idea, at least with a few of your closer colleagues. What's the sentiment on that?
I think we have a very good opportunity next year. I think the sentiment is right now that we need to fix our roads. We need to make this priority to fix the infrastructure on our roads, and it's well within the Constitution for us to be doing this, and we have the money. So let's make that priority and go forward. The problem is it's got to come from somewhere, and I hear this a lot, and we just don't need to expand the new programs that a lot of people might like. And we're not here to do everything for everybody. Let's do exactly what we're supposed to do in the Constitution. And our roads is one of them. Fix the roads.
What about education? We haven't mentioned that too much here lately, but what about funding for it? What changes or additions or? needs?
So there was one in the news, and the TSU, Tennessee State University, that was in the news. I'm on that committee, actually. So I get to hear that, and they're going to be coming back before our committees again. They had the worst report that I've ever seen. I've been here now for 13 years. This is the worst report of a budget that I have ever seen. They made horrible mistakes, and I'll give a good example. Last year, they normally give out $5 million worth of scholarships, and instead of doing the $5 million, they gave $28 million out. $28 million. And then all these kids that were coming, they were free ride scholarships, so that the housing was paid and everything, and they didn't have the room. And so they had to go ahead and lease 11 hotels. Every single night, every single day, 11 hotels they leased out and to let the college kids go. And then they came back and said, well, we were surprised by that we had that many people in college. If you give out $28 million of scholarships, there shouldn't be any surprise you got more kids coming.
How do you fix it?
So we're going to be looking at, do we change the president of the university? Do we change the board of the university? What do we need to do to get their attention to make sure that they're not going to be in a position that they got to keep coming to the state to fix things like this? And we got to do it in a very thoughtful way of what is the best thing that we want to do. We want to support the higher education, but I don't believe in free college for everybody. I think that people need to pay their way, and we need to make sure that it's going to be underneath a good watchful eye of how we're doing this.
Do you think, and this is way out here, but do you think the decision the Supreme Court makes regarding what President Biden is wanting to do regarding these the student loans, is that going to have any effect on what you do in the legislature right now, or the thinking of our college officials and so on?
I am hoping that the Supreme Court will uphold the law and say you cannot just cancel those debts. Coleman, all of us, if we were going to college, we had to say we're going to college for a reason. We had to pay our way, or our parents saved the way, or we're saved for our kids and help them through. And then all of a sudden to say, well, for this generation, we're just going to pass that on to our seniors and they're going to pick up that debt. No, you got a debt. It's up to you to pay that debt. You knew you were going into debt when you went into college. You knew these were not surprises. And we say that these kids, they think that they want all the adult responsibilities. Well, paying back a debt is an adult responsibility. And when you go to college, if you incur a debt, you got to pay it back. And that's me, Coleman. I mean, that's exactly how I feel on that.
I appreciate you sharing your feelings with us from time to time, just about every Friday.
Well, Coleman, this is our money. It is not taxpayer money. It is our money. It's not government money. This is our money. And it affects you, me, our neighbors, everybody that we go to work with. This has got to be something that all of us watch how it's spent. And for whatever reason, we think once we pay the taxes, the government has it, and they become a lot bigger than they're supposed to be. And I want to keep reining them in and saying no.
Okay, you're going to be at the Chamber of Commerce at
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock. How long do you plan to be there?
About an hour. As soon as I'm done, I'll go right over to the drug court.
Yeah. What do you when you go there, you have something that you have a feeling that's going to be on people's minds, or I mean, does everything just anything and everything? I'm sure is welcome, but so you ever get caught off guard?
Not normally. Sometimes somebody will come in, but we understand the issues, and we literally will find ways that we can help them solve those issues. And I don't want to pass somebody on and say, oh, that's a local issue. So if it's a city issue, Debbie will try and find the right person in the city to pass them on. She's not going to say, here's a phone number and just call them. If it's a federal issue, she's going to say, hey, let's get John Rose's office on the line, or whoever it is, and talk to them and help solve that issue. We don't want to just pass the buck. The other thing is,
really, this is another way of you being able to serve as senator, to be there for an hour and try to help people.
Absolutely.
Find answers, find solutions.
And that's what we're trying to do. If you got an issue with the state, we want to be there to help. If it's any branch of the government, we want to be there to help.
What's this next week going to look like?
We are in full swing in our committees, and it's going to be education bills. We got so many different types of education bills, as well as state and local. And I've got to tell you that between those two committees, we've literally got about 400 more bills that I've got to go through just to understand those bills before we vote on them in the next 3 weeks. And that's a lot to read and understand and so forth. So mine is just reading at night. And sometimes my wife will just say, can you turn off the light and go to bed? You know, just because I'm reading everything I can, doing as much research as I can on these bills.
I remember years ago, and I doubt there were this many bills at that time, but Senator Baird, you've heard of him, no doubt. He said on the radio here more than once that he read every bill that he had to vote on. And I know you're trying to do that.
That's exactly right. We try to read them. We try to understand what it is that we're going through. But the board that we have helps me so much because even yesterday, Christina passed out homework. She said, you know, here's the bills we've not gotten to, and people will take those and they'll report back and say, here's what we think on this bill, and that helps me a lot.
Well, thanks for being with us. We are out of time, but we appreciate having you each Friday, so we'll see you next time.
Thanks, Coleman.
Senator Mark Pody, our Friday Senate report, and that is part one of Coleman and Company. We hope you'll keep it here for more FM 98.9.
And it's 7:29. Let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to our friends at Absolute Kubota. They'll help you rent the right tool for the job. The Kubota Orange Rental Program makes it easy to rent the right equipment. Stop by Absolute Kubota, check out the U35 excavator or the SVL 75 compact track loader, 1506 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. Cleanup continues on this wreck on 65 southbound at Long Hollow Pike. It sure has jammed up traffic big time this morning with all that traffic coming in from Robertson County through the section of Sumner County as well. Again, they're wrapping up a wreck. Hopefully sooner than later on 65 southbound at Long Hollow Pike. Traffic is crazy slow. Hey, Nash Painting services all in Middle Tennessee. They're online right now, nashpainting.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
It's tax time, and Cars Unlimited Tax Service is locally owned and has 33 years of experience in preparing taxes. They do upfront loans of $250 to $6,000. They're also an authorized IRS e-file provider. Call 615-449-2955 or stop by 1006 West Main Street in Lebanon. Cars Unlimited Tax Service stands ready to help you prepare your taxes.
Hello Phoenix fans, I'm Reed Madariaga of Mililani, Hawaii, and I'm a pitcher on the Cumberland baseball team. We have a big week coming up and we need your support. We travel to Georgetown for a doubleheader Saturday at 11 a.m. and a single game Sunday at 11 a.m. Hear all the action right here on this radio station or on GoCumberlandAthletics.com. Check the website for schedule changes. Go Phoenix!
I'm gonna make this place your home.
Ready to purchase your new home? Give us your list of needs and your budget, and we will start the hunt for your dream home.
We are full-time real estate agents with over 44 years of experience, and we are ready to help you.
There is no obligation. Call us today, and remember, don't make a move without us.
Call Judy Cox or Medina Himmentoller at Exit Rocky Top Realty. C&D Team 443-3130.
A few more rain chances to deal with this morning before things finally dry out for the weekend. Temperatures will be in the 60s this morning with rain letting up for the afternoon. Conditions stay windy for the day with Saturday and Sunday both looking dry. This weather forecast is brought to you by Walker Auction and Realty, professional auction and real estate services. Get top dollar for your home, land, or personal property. Log on to MikeWalkerAuctions.com. They know auctions. That's a look at your forecast. I'm number one Ned.
Coleman and Company, welcome to part two of Friday morning, and time for us to talk about Exit Rocky Top Realty and especially the C&D team. We got one member of the team with us this morning, Medina Himmentoller. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Coleman.
Good to see you again.
Yes,
I
it's
hope
good to
things
be
are
here.
going well.
Yes, going
What do
as
you
planned.
do on a big windy day like this?
Well, that's when you just blow along and show houses.
Well, of course, they're located at 1330 West Main in Lebanon. Great people, great service. Somebody answers that phone 24/7. They're people you can trust, and Medina always has this advice for us.
Don't make a move without us.
And you're not going to forget that.
No.
Well, I hope that Miss Judy is okay.
She's doing fine. We had to separate this morning. She had to go to a property early this morning to look at something. So I said, okay, I'll go cover the radio. You go do that.
Well,
So-
what do you got for us?
Well, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about what we've got going on as far as properties, but also remember that it's becoming the springtime of year. Today is maybe a good example of that. I don't know if it is yet or not, but we're coming to that springtime of year where spring break is starting next week.
Oh.
And so next week it starts here, but all through with the rest of the country, it goes through, I think, April. Sometime in April. So people are moving, people are retiring, people are relocating, people are changing jobs. And sometimes when on their spring break, that's the time that they do that. They come to wherever they're going to be moving to look at homes and look at the towns and see if they like this town or that town or whatever. And of course, we want them to be. Wilson County is the best place to be in our minds. So if you're thinking about putting your house on the market, it's starting to be the good time of year. Just do that because the sun will be shining, the flowers are blooming, and people are really starting to get out because it's not the gloomy winter cold anymore. So if you're thinking about doing that, just look around your house and see what you can do if you can plant more flowers because you want your house to be more appealing than the next house, okay? And it's just like if you're going to a store and you're looking at two items and they're the same item, but one is dressed up prettier than the other one, you're going to grab the one that's dressed up prettier. And not necessarily the cost is not what you're looking at, but it's in your budget, but you're looking at the one that dressed up prettier. So that's just something to think about while you are at home during spring break, or you're just thinking about, I want to think about putting my house on the market. What do I need to do? And that's one thing we can come out and show you. We can walk through the house and say, you might want to do this and this and this, and outside and spruce up the outside to make it pretty. So that way people will drive by and go, that house is nice. I'd like to see what that one looks like. Let's make an appointment.
And a lot of people want some ballpark idea of what their property is worth, too.
Yes, exactly. And we can do that. Of course, that's a free of charge. We don't charge anything for that. And we can tell you what we think you can get for it if it's listed. And then we start the marketing and get it sold for you so you can move on either down the street, across town, to another state, whatever's in your life. So I just wanted to say that for a few minutes and talk about we've got some listings in the land area that we have. We have one on Canesville Road. It's lot 8. It's right past Salem Church of Christ and down Canes Road in the Noreen community. And it is 10 acres. It's unimproved, which means there's not anything on it as far as septic. There's no water. There's no electricity. However, that would be easily accessible because you have the water and the electric poles there. So it is listed for $249,900. I've already had several calls about that, so hopefully it won't last long, and we'll get somebody over there that either wants land just to invest in, or they want to look at building a house. It'll be a beautiful place for a house.
Okay. I was going to ask that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's 10.72 acres, I do believe. But it's listed at $249,900. And then we have other land on Rutledge Lane on the north side of town. And it is 5 acres, but it has a septic and it's perked for 3-bedroom. It has water, and it is in the process of getting electricity on it as we speak. And it is listed at $549,900, and it just was reduced $50,000. So give us a call on that one. Now, both of those, Canesville and Rutledge, both have a fire hall within a mile of the property. So that always helps for insurance purposes. So give us a call on those. And then don't forget we have property on Old Murfreesboro Road. It's 2 acres, and it has a house, 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath. And it could be commercial very easily if you're looking at an investment property. It has a workshop. It also has an auto mechanic shop. So if you're looking into that, give us a call on that one. That one is listed at $649,900. And then we have Woodside, 1405 Woodside Drive. And that one is listed at $409,900. And it's 4 bedrooms, 2.5 bath. It's in Colonial Village. HOA $35 a month, and then it has a pool clubhouse, and sidewalks where you can walk in the community. And those are good all homes. And that Colonial Village has been here for some time, and it looks like it was just built. So give us a call. That house is 5 years old.
Wow, you've got a lot to offer, no doubt.
Yes, we also have commercial on Highway 109. So give us a call if you're looking for that as well.
All right, good to have you with us today, and hope the wind will not blow you away. You'll be back here next Friday.
That's right. We'll blow on through.
We all got it. My next guest has a question.
Are you related to Mike Hemmentoller?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
How's he related to you?
Couldn't tell you.
Okay.
But yes.
Well,
a Hemmentoller is a Hemmentoller.
Exactly. I was about to say his right foot and my backside had a very unloving relationship during the late 70s, early 80s at Mount Juliet Junior High and High School. So
yes.
if he's still around, give him my best.
Yes.
But do it from a distance.
Yes, I will. But yes, a Hemmentoller is related to all Hemmentollers.
Yes.
So
kind of
yes.
like Luffmans are.
Exactly.
All right, the last word is?
Don't make a move without us.
Medina Hemmentoller, thank you so much. C&D team, Exit Rocky Top Realty, 1330 West Main in Lebanon. We're about 21 minutes before the hour, and you've already heard his voice, but Jamie Luffman, Mount Juliet Fire Chief, at the moment, is with us this morning. Good morning.
Good morning to you. Yeah, every time I hear that name Hemmentoller, I kind of pinch a hole in my seat because I know what's coming.
Well, there's a reason for your being here this morning, maybe two or three. It was quite a surprise to me a few weeks, I guess it was, ago when I heard that as far as fire chief, you were hanging it up, and I don't know whether the word was retire. I'm not even sure what was used, but I'm thinking he's not going somewhere to sit under the shade tree.
No.
So,
retirement pays better than resignation. And so we went with retirement. My friend and financial partner, my lovely bride, said, "Yeah, let's go with retirement." No, it's been a good 10-year run. It's been tough, but two things. I've got some opportunities in the private sector that are available now that might not be there. And it gives me an opportunity to expound on some parts of my skill set that I'd honed years ago in the private sector with DuPont, and it gives me an opportunity to pick up where I left off there and do that. And since I'm not the guy running into the burning buildings or getting up in a tree with the cat, I thought it was time to explore those possibilities. I had told the elected officials that 10 years ago, all the way up until today, my job has been twofold. Number one was to give them a no-bull assessment of what the capabilities of their fire department, what we can do and what we cannot do. And we did that through SWOT, SWOT, strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats. And yeah, I know it's, hey, listen, if you want to get in the fire service, if you like acronyms, this is the craft for you. But no, I've done that during the times that it was by myself, when I've had part-time administrators and now full-time administration. That's always been our number one goal, is to make sure that the elected officials and the city administration knew what we could do and what we couldn't do. Because we were late coming to the game. You know, when I graduated high school in '82, there were only 8,000 people in Mount Juliet. Now there's 40,000 people in Mount Juliet, and we just 10 years ago there was 23, 24, and we were a little late, getting started, but we got started. And then the second part was to put the right people in the right place. And when I stepped back and looked at the department right now with Deputy Chief Joey Edwards and Assistant Chief EMS Chief Eric Newman, I thought, I've got this. If I decided tomorrow not to wake up, this department and this city would still be just as protected and would keep on rolling. So everything was time. And of course, leaning on my faith and listening when I should listen to the words of the master. It was just, it was time.
All right, we got a couple of minutes before we go to a break. I want to kind of go back from the beginning. Did you grow up in Mount Juliet?
Yes, sir. I grew up in Mount Juliet. I grew up over in Lakeview. It was never Mount Juliet proper, and still isn't today, but it was Rural Route 5, Mount Juliet, Tennessee.
And you went through the school system there. You graduated from Mount Juliet High?
Yes, sir, in 1982.
Yeah.
We had first year in 12 years, we beat the Gallatin Greenway. Best night of my life. Good God. Hey, they beat us my junior year in 1981. The final score of the football game was 2-0.
Yeah.
They beat us on a safety. So if you're a big defensive fan, that was the night to be there in Gallatin.
What did you do after high school?
I thought I might want to go to college.
Yeah.
And I did. I just didn't want to go to class while I was at college. No, I would go. I went my first year. I had a 3.2 average from University of Tennessee at Martin and got home and couldn't tell you anything. I was lazy. I was smart, but I was lazy. And my sister is wicked smart. She's an attorney now. And so I told my father, I said, why don't you concentrate on Jennifer's, formal education, and I'll do this, as I can. And so if I had the fire in my belly and the money in my pocket, I went to college, Vol State, MTSU. And then if I didn't have one or either one, I stayed at home and worked. And then my junior year, I saw my sister graduate from college with honors and have difficulty getting a job. And I lost one of my roommates to a drunk driver on I-24. And I looked at life and I said, wow, it is fast, it is cheap, and it's moving. And I need to get out there and do something. So I went to work full time and never looked back. And then I've gone a little here.
Where?
Oh, gee whiz. I went, first place I went to work for when I was a teenager was for Jack Parrish. He lived right there on Curd Road and Lebanon Road, Parrish Place subdivision.
Okay.
I helped him put barbed wire all around that farm. And I learned real quick, I don't want to be a barbed wiresman. Y'all want to mess with barbed wire. I worked for a stonemason. I was a mud maker. I realized I didn't want to be a mud maker all my life. But no, I worked 10 years out at Opryland, and then I worked 6 years at Ingram Book Company. I worked 14 years at Wilson County EMA.
Yeah, that's where I met you. You were at Wheeler.
Yes, 10 years, 11 years in the ER at Summit, and then 17 years at DuPont, and the last 10 years at the city of Mount Juliet. So if I go for a while. I hate to pack and travel.
All right, but today at 4:00 we'll end your time with the city of Mount Juliet.
Yes,
at least for now.
Well, yeah, in
and
this
you
capacity,
will be, as you said, fire chief emeritus.
Emeritus, yes. The city manager has crowned me fire chief emeritus. He said, once a chief, always a chief. I said, that may work at 2425 North Mount Juliet Road, but at 511 Summit Way, when I take this uniform off at 4:00, my wife will be promoted.
Well, I appreciate you taking time to be with us. We've got some more to talk about, but now time for a break. This is Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
And let's see what's happening on the roadways. It's 7:47 now, and this update brought to you by our friends at Bates Ford. Get a regular oil change, $34.95, up to 5 quarts of oil, tax and disposal, $16.73 West Main. Now in traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. They finally opened it back up on 65 southbound at Long Hollow Pike. It's still heavy down through there, and it will be for a while. Again, coming from Robertson County through that section of Sumner on 65 southbound at Long Hollow Pike. Again, it's back open. Traffic still busy on 40 East coming through Kingston Springs. All that traffic in from Dixon County. Hey, Princess Hot Chicken is catering. Check out that awesome menu at princesshotchicken.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
At Wilson Bank and Trust, the personal service you've depended on for 35 years is available wherever you are. Open an account today and have access to your personal checking or savings accounts 24/7 when you bank online or use our mobile app. With 21 different kinds of accounts available, our dedicated e-banking team makes opening online easy, safe, and convenient. To get started, visit wilsonbank.com. Wilson Bank and Trust, Middle Tennessee's community bank, member FDIC.
We continue here on this Friday morning. Thanks for joining us. Jamie Luck is with us, retiring fire chief for the city of Mount Juliet. we've talked about what you did before you got there, and I think you had some productive time, some learning time at WEMA, which probably helped you when you went to Mount Juliet.
Yes, Joey Cooper, the director now, was my captain, then shift commander. And so, yeah, he and I, we both shared an affinity for the hazmat part of the firecraft, and so we enjoyed that. I was out at DuPont at the time working part-time for him, and eventually that turned into a full-time job there and a full-time job at the emergency department at the hospital. But that was probably, that was a wonderful time in my professional career, because I was one day at the hall, one day at the hospital, and one day at the house.
Yeah.
And I was very, very happy. And then when they decided to create a fire department in my hometown, I was like, well, sure, I'll throw my hat in the ring.
Well, there's really, I think there's quite a bit of history, we might say, when the history is written of what actually took place, because there was once a time when some people, maybe even our county commissioners and the powers that be, were saying, well, if Mount Juliet wants to be a city, they need to act like a city, meaning you need to do some stuff on your own, not depend on the county.
Right.
And that's a process, but I think you have come along. And probably, I'm guessing a little bit here, but I think maybe as much credit or more should be given to you for what has happened down there and for the position that you're in now with your fire department and this new fire station, the whole bit. And I wish you'd go through that a little bit and tell us about it this morning.
I can honestly tell you, Coleman, it's never been a one-man band. It's never been a one-man band. And maybe, people give me those accolades here, especially recently, and I appreciate them. I really do, and I don't want to take, anything for granted. It's just right now, I'm in my mind, I'll get some time down the road, and then I might look back and say, yeah, that wasn't a bad move. But I've had good support from city manager, who, by the way, happy birthday, Kenny. This is my birthday present to him. No, he doesn't see it that way, but we kid because we care. But no, it's I've always had good people. I've had people like Chris Allen, people like Sean Donovan, and then here's of late, like I said, I stole Joey Edwards from the academy down in Bell Buckle. I stole Eric Newman from Vanderbilt. So I was able to at least have a product that was attractive enough to bring in the best that I knew, the best in my network. Joe Edwards is the smartest man I know, operational-wise, training-wise in the fire service. Eric Newman is absolutely the smartest man I know on EMS transport. Followed closely by Brian Newberry over here at the county, who I studied under many, many years ago and worked with. And so I've got a wonderful network, and now that network is being given over to Chief Edwards and Chief Newman, and at an operational standpoint, at our level, between us and the administrators at WEMA, Jeremy Hobbs, Brian Newberry, Joey Cooper, there's good harmony. There's good dialogue, and it's all about putting the people first.
You had to, no doubt, ask for money, come seek appropriation to do what you did. And Mount Juliet is pretty much known for being conservative, especially when it comes to spending tax dollars.
Yes.
How were you able, I mean, you had to do your homework, you had to come up with a plan, and you present this plan in a way that encourages their favor. Was this, how difficult was that?
Well, when we started back in 2010, the elected officials passed a property tax, and that was, the property tax was going to sole source fund the fire department. So I think the first year in 2010, they brought in $1.2 million. So by the time in 2013 that Chief Kenny and I started writing checks, we had some seed money. We had a nice little sack of seed money. But when you're buying a new building, you're buying 4 new trucks, when you're buying 12 people and everything that it takes to gear them up, your seed money goes down pretty quick. And we stayed sole source funded up until about 3 years ago. And we got a new set of elected officials in there. James Manis became the mayor. Ray was the vice mayor. We got Bill Trevette. We got Scott Hafner. We have Jennifer Mullally. And the very first piece of legislature that this group passed was to move the fire department's budget into the general fund, just like every other city RFD in the world. And so once we did that, that put us on par to compete with Parks, Police, Public Works, Administration, for the grant, out of the big kitty. And because they used to say, oh, people will pay a tax for fire protection. Some will, most won't. That T word kills whatever the idea is. And so putting us into the general fund really lit the rocket. And the last 3 years, we've been able to we're at 37 employees. This time next month, we'll be at 71. So we have been blessed by a very benevolent group of elected officials who walk the walk when it comes to public safety.
All right, has all this really been necessary for the security and safety of the citizens of Mount Juliet to have the fire protection that they really need? And I'll help you with that. And one thing, I know you've got a lower number ISO,
yes.
So that's in your face.
Yes, it is. And what that does is financially, from a 5 to a 3, that makes your premiums less. So that's more disposable income, more trips down over to local Joe's and 401 South Mount Juliet Road. Keep it local. But it also represents response time, deployment analysis, water, dispatch, community risk reduction. It represents a lot more on, people are going to see dollars and dimes. I'm going to see coverage and safety and effectiveness. And with the North Station being complete next month and that being ready to be staffed and stocked, ready to go, and then the addition of the ambulance transport, Eric hates this word division, but it just works for me. But the ambulance transport effort, and all of the people that go into that, I see us being able to, at the very least, we're going to solidify that 3. We'll be a strong 3. We might skirt an ISO rating of 2. Now, I say that because I've only got 7.5 more hours on the job, and tomorrow they can't yell at me. But we're going to stay in touch with ISO out of Marlboro, New Jersey, and let them know what our updates are and see how close we can get to that. As anybody will know, Chief Baird, Joey Cooper, all of them will tell you, ISO is a 2-step process. You can get there, then you got to stay there. Yeah. And one is just as challenging as the other. And so, again, that's part of what we have been completely transparent with the elected officials at. It says, if you want to, we can get you low, but you got to help us stay there.
I've got to ask this, and I've wondered, and I still am wondering, but as I mentioned earlier, there were some people in the county who thought you ought to do more. Mayor Hutto, where has he been in all this process, and with y'all coming along and maybe some encouragement?
Yeah, he has. He's been very, very encouraging, with whatever, we were wanting, whatever we were needing. We had talked about, we started as early as 2014 because that was part of our job, is to forecast where we are and where we're going to be. And so we started a dialogue in 2014 about, having the county to increase ambulance service there. The issue was that, Mount Juliet's not the only growing portion of Wilson County. Lebanon, best kept secret since Who Shot JR, Lebanon has got heck of a growth going on right now. Plus the other hundreds of square miles that are Wilson County. And so we weren't able to get to that point that way. I looked for years. I looked through about 11 different public-private partnerships, and none of them worked the way that we needed to. We were not going to offer up a subsidy. My approach to them was, here's my customer base. You make your money best way you know how. You do the marketing, you do the sales, you do it, you do it the best way you know how. And they're just, none of them ever ended without the city, or them needing the city to commit to a subsidy, and we just weren't going to do that. So
Okay.
we
All
ended
right.
up doing it ourselves.
All right, got a minute and a half here. We want to know what you can tell us about where you're going to be Monday and what you're going to be doing.
I am going back to the private sector. I told Brother Pody just a minute ago, I'm trading in politicians and taxes for stockholders and profit margins. So it's the difference between swimming in the ocean and the swimming pool. There's fewer things to bite you. But no, I kid. I am going back into the private sector. I'd be remiss if I didn't remind folks that today is the 3rd anniversary of the tornadoes that came through this area. Jim and Donna Eaton and Brandy Barker are names that I'll always remember because they were precious souls that we lost 3 years ago today. Want everybody to keep their eye to the sky where, again, 3 years later, we're still got a wind thing going on. But no, Jim and I worked out for years at Planet Fitness. We were on our ellipticals side by side. Now, it was 4 o'clock every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So you didn't get into a how's your mama and them conversation. But for over 3 years, Jim and I would see one another on those 3 days of the week, and it would be morning, and when we're done, have a good day. And so that was, that's one thing I wish that I had asked Jim just one time, how's your mama and them? Yeah. So if there's a word going out or going as I'm going out, it's make sure you ask. When you see somebody, ask them how their mama is.
Jamie, we're out of time. Thank you so much for taking time to be with us
Proud
today.
to. Thank you for asking, sir.
All right. Jamie Luffman, the retiring fire chief, City of Mount Juliet. That's it for Friday. Have a nice weekend, and until Monday, I wish you a fantastic day.